Are you currently looking to grow your business? And if so, do you understand the 7 different ways to grow? So, hey everyone, Luke here, Tax, Tech and Tactics. Today we're going to be talking about business growth, something that every single one of my clients is looking to try and achieve. And everyone does it in a different way. It can be extremely overwhelming. It can be complicated. And it can be a little bit demoralizing when it doesn't pay off. Because when you go online and you follow any sort of person talking about business, there are a million and one different tactics that people are going to say you need to use to grow your business. But the truth is that business is simple, not easy. So that's simple, not easy. So what I mean is, if we boil things down to the most basic business concepts, it's really easy for us to understand how things work. It doesn't necessarily make it easy to deliver that, otherwise everyone would be doing that. Sometimes it can be hard, but we need to concentrate on what's simple. So in this video, we're going to talk you through the 7 different growth levers that you can pull within your business and how each of those works. So essentially, we have 3 different ways or 3 different categories of which we can grow our business. So there is, we can go get more clients, we can deliver more value, and or we can control our costs. So each of those can be broken down into a couple of 2 or 3 different levers. So if we focus on firstly keeping more clients, this is first for a reason. If you have any element of churn, so churn is clients leaving you, which every business does, you need to determine what a natural churn level is for your business. So every industry will have a certain amount of churn, and some will be very, very low, and some will be a little bit higher. And perhaps that level of churn is nothing. It's something that you can't do anything about. But anything beyond that level, and this should be your number one priority before you do any marketing, before you do any cost cutting, anything like that. And the reason being is simple: is that you've worked so hard and spent loads of time and effort and money to acquire these clients. You need to keep them. So calculating churn. So this is obviously for retainer and subscription based clients. So service based industries like marketing agencies where their clients are retainers, like accountants, and very much definitely something that's super important for SaaS businesses is to be calculating this churn. So churn, well, in itself, churn is a simple calculation. It is the number of clients that you've lost during this period, so we're talking about a month, divided by the clients that you had at the start of this month. Multiply it by 100, express it as a percentage. The reason I say on the face of it it's simple is that actually when we look at clients calculating churn, there are a lot of different ways to do it when you get into the detail, and the devil's always in the detail here. For example, something that we won't go into too much in this video, but when we're looking at churn, we need to be looking at cohorts. So if we're looking at monthly churn, we need to look at all the clients signed up in January. When did they eventually drop off? How many months did they stay for? And then do the same for the February cohort, the same for the March cohort, or we can do that in years if you've got a lot of data over a period of years. But for now, let's keep it simple. Let's make sure we are monitoring it or calculating your churn and then monitoring it and doing something about it. So depending on how bad it is, there are a few different strategies that you could take here. If it's really bad, then having a whole client retention team doing something to try and keep these clients when they're leaving. Make sure you know why clients are leaving. So some sort of, again, if you've got a client retention team, it can be in there, or look at cancellation surveys. We all know it's like we all sign up to 1,000,001 different subscriptions and SaaS platforms ourselves. When we go to leave, it always makes us tick a reason, right? And the reason for that is because they want to analyze their churn and they want to see what they can do about it. You might be creating loyalty programs. You might a good thing to do and to reduce churn is a bit hard is creating a strong community. Those businesses that have a strong community, a really powerful Facebook group, a networking environment, and they feel part of something. That's a really good, strong sort of tactic to use to reduce churn. Number 2 is to convert more leads. So once we fix number 1, so we've stopped these clients from leaving, or as many as we can, we now want to look at the inquiries we're already getting, because again, we've gone to all the effort of getting these clients or inquiries in. They haven't quite become clients yet. There's still a lot of effort to get leads coming into the business. So now we want to make sure they're not wasted. So we want to be looking at the conversion rate. So if you're not already, then you need to be tracking this. So out of all these inquiries this month, how many of them signed up to be clients? We've got 100 inquiries, we got 50 clients. Our conversion rate is 50%. I'm not going to tell you in this video what's a good or poor conversion rate. It's completely dependent on your sector, your industry, and your business as well. But it's important to look at how you can improve it and what measures you put in place and the impact it has. Rather than just tracking conversion rate from sort of start to end, which is leads to deals, the best thing to do here is to look at the stages of your pipeline. So hopefully you've already got some sort of sales CRM and you're tracking it by stages. Stages will vary, but it's probably something like leads coming in, discovery call, proposal meeting or sales meeting booked, deal one. They might be your 4 stages. So as well as looking at lead to deal, we're going to look at the conversion of each of those different stages. So we might get 100 leads in, 90 might go through to discovery call. So we have a 90% conversion from stage 1 to stage 2 of our pipeline. The reason that's important is because it allows us to see which areas of our sales journey could be improved upon. So we're looking at each of the different stages, and there are things that we can do at each stage to improve that percentage to move them on to the next stage, which is ultimately what a sales pipeline is there for. If you have other people selling for you, particularly if you've got more than one person, you've got a sales team, you must be tracking this by people. I mean, most people with a sales team already know this and already are, but if you're not, then make sure you do it straight away, because it could really easily highlight some sort of performance or training issue that addressed could massively improve that conversion rate. Imagine if we're still getting the same 100 leads in, our marketing hasn't changed, but we increase our ultimate conversion rate from 50% to 60%. So we're bringing an extra 10 clients just because we've got a bit better at selling. One of the ways that I have found the biggest results here is to make sure that our sales system is exactly that, is systemized. So is it documented and laid out? Have we automated all that we can? So using something like HubSpot or ActiveCampaign to build an automation here is really important, because it's going to speed up and make us more efficient. But also it can mean that we can still be personal, because we can tailor content to that individual. Number 3 is to increase the frequency. So we've already convinced clients that we are worth spending money on as a business. We've already got the leads in, we converted them, they've spent some money with us. Now can we increase how often we transact with them? So increasing the frequency. So in the e-commerce world, for example, we're going to be using a ton of email marketing and discounts. You know my thing on discounts. Check previous videos and posts on this. But they are used within e-commerce, and the reason they're used is to try and get people to come back and buy more often. If we're the service-based business, then how can we increase that frequency? So someone might be on a monthly subscription with you, but one of the services you might deliver quarterly. Could you deliver that monthly instead? So we're increasing the number of times that we are selling and interacting and dealing with that client. Number 4 is to increase the transaction value. Now, what I mean here is increasing the total amount of money the client spends with you every time they transact. So don't get any kind of hang-ups here about moral dilemmas and that sort of queasy, old school used car salesman type tactics here. We're not talking about that. We're talking about making sure you add a tremendous amount of value to your clients so that you can charge more. So the quickest, surefire way to increase bottom line is to increase your price. Most clients that we start to work with really struggle with being aware of their true value and having the confidence to price the way that they should do. So therefore they're undercharging. So by fixing that, and just purely by increasing your prices, is a very, very quick and easy way to increase your bottom line. Yes, you might lose some clients, but run the numbers. Most of the time, you'd have to lose a really large, unrealistic number of clients to counteract the increase in profit. You might end up, worst case scenario, the same amount of, or say 10% fewer clients, but charged at a much higher price. So you might end up with the same amount of revenue overall, but you have less clients to service for that revenue. Great. Gives you a stronger position to go and grow. But that's not the only way of increasing the transaction value. We can increase by adding more value in other ways. So in the three sectors that we work with, we have e-commerce. So they will be using email marketing, checkout software to increase the average order value. So the AOV, every time they order, how can we increase that basket and add more things in there? In SaaS, we are looking to move clients up a package level by adding more features in, or selling more paid users rather than free users. So we're looking at the ARPA, the average revenue per account there. We're looking for that to increase. In the service industry, we upsell other services, and again, adding more value for the client, not selling the things they don't need. So it doesn't matter which of those industries you fall into, each has its own way of increasing the transaction value without just increasing the core underlying pricing. Number 5, so improve efficiencies. So here we're talking about your gross profit margin, your direct costs, your cost of sales, and we're looking for any improvement in this margin. And it's usually the one that people work on the least, I think, if I'm being honest. I don't know if that's because it's misunderstood or rarely calculated correctly. It could be that. But just a few percentage points improvements here can really make a big difference to the bottom line net profit. So it's something you should definitely be paying attention to. For a product-based business, so we're looking at e-commerce, it's going to typically be achieved by negotiating better prices for your materials and stock. So you're still charging the same amount of money out, it's costing you less money to produce and perhaps deliver that product. So it might be as you grow, you're getting volume discounts, you might switch suppliers, or you might just have an amazing set of negotiation skills and just manage to negotiate a better price. If you're a service-based business, your main cost of sale is going to be your direct labour costs. So you could look to reduce that. You could look to replace in-house staff with offshore teams and have a cost saving there. But really, for most businesses like this, it's actually not about reducing your direct costs. It's about creating efficiency and capacity with your existing cost base to allow you to take on more clients without hiring more staff. That's an impressive thing to do. And again, maybe slightly easier said than done. But this is where we're looking at efficiencies within the business, the operations. So we're looking for systems, we're looking for automation. We're looking at the use of tech here. We can't use a better example, or more relevant example than ChatGPT. ChatGPT can greatly increase the efficiency that your staff can handle, depending on what industry you're in, and therefore the capacity to take on new clients without hiring staff is very attractive. Will increase that gross profit margin, and ultimately it's going to grow your bottom line net profit very quickly. Number 6, get more leads. Now, this is number 6 out of 7 for a very specific reason. Because if I ask everyone in the room to raise their hand and say, what are you going to do to grow your business? 99 out of 100 responses is going to be about the marketing. It's going to be about generating more leads. Now, that's fine, and it does need to form part of your growth strategy. I spend a lot of time doing it. You wouldn't be watching this video if I wasn't focused on marketing. But the realistic situation here is that this is one of the hardest and the most expensive levers to pull, because generating more leads is not easy. All the other levers that we talked about here are things that they're quicker wins. You can access them first. So yes, concentrate on your marketing plan, generate more of those relevant leads, but make sure you've addressed the other sort of holes in your bucket through these other levers first and foremost. We're not going to talk about marketing strategy here, way beyond the scope of this video, but obviously having a really nailed down marketing strategy, generating consistent leads is what you're looking for. Number 7, last and deliberately least, is to reduce your costs. So now, instead of direct costs, we're talking about your overheads. Now, this goes against everything we're taught as accountants and everything that people think a traditional accountant should be, which is counting the pennies and watching the money. And I mean, there's not very much traditional about me, I suppose, but the accountancy's moved on. This is not what we focus on. Now, don't get me wrong, If you aren't operating lean and you have bloated expenses, then fix them quick. It's easy for the most part. They need to be reviewed regularly, and you need to make sure they stay in check. But actually, most small business owners I meet concentrate on this so much that they run as lean as they can do. So there isn't really any scope here. There's only so far you can reduce expenses. You can only reduce them down to zero, but realistically, you can't reduce them that far. There's only so far you can reduce them before you start to cause harm. And the biggest issue I have here is the mindset of this approach being the first thing you do when you run into trouble or you need to generate more profit is to reduce your costs. And the reason being is it's far more of a scarcity mindset than an abundance mindset. I would much rather focus on ways that I can grow the efficiency of the business and grow the value I deliver and the number of clients I work with and the price and all the rest of it, because there's no upper limit on that versus trying to penny pinch every last little ounce of overheads out of the business. So the key to growth is understanding all 7 of these levers. And what's really powerful here is that you only need to get a little bit of efficiency. If you're talking 5 or 10% improvement in each of those levers, and even if you only pull maybe 4 of those levers, then you can produce some spectacular results. You combine them, and particularly when they're compounded as well, the growth results are absolutely huge. So make sure you're aware of all these 7 growth levers. A lot of these are metrics that should be tracked on your financial dashboard. Talking about number of leads generated, your sales conversion rates, your average order or your average revenue per client or account, your gross profit margin. All of those are really key core metrics you should be tracking. So you should be able to get a good handle on what is impacting your growth rather than waiting for your top line revenue to increase or your bottom line net profit to increase. You get a good precursor indicator as to how that's happening, because leads and all the rest of those things are early on in the pipeline than the revenue that we report on. So, see, business is simple.